Also joining us via Zoom is Attorney Gilbert Andres. He's an ICC-accredited lawyer. Good afternoon, Attorney Andres. Kamusta po?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, Attorney.
Ed and Ami from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands.
Ah.
Yes.
Sir, may update daw kayo. DCC, document containing charge, will be filed by the prosecutor this Friday. Anong sabihin nun? Kasi we thought na nung yung umpisa pa lang, when Duterte was brought there and made to face the ICC, we thought that was already the presentation of the articles, or not articles, the charges.
Okay, Ed, actually, it's a bit reverse here, if we compare it for our domestic proceedings. Because in our domestic proceedings, there's the information that's filed in court. Then the judge will actually issue an arrest warrant. Then the accused will be arrested. But here, it's the reverse. Actually, there was the arrest warrant issued by the pretrial chamber. And Mr. Duterte was arrested legally, okay, under international law and Philippine domestic law. And then, after that, that's when the Office of the Prosecutor will file the so-called DCC, document containing charges. This is actually the formal charges against Mr. Duterte. So it will actually state there, crimes against humanity. What crimes against humanity under Article 7? Does it include murder only? Or does it include rape? Or does it include imprisonment under arbitrary conditions? Or does it include other inhumane acts? So that's what we will determine this Friday.
That's what we will see this Friday, you mean? Kung ano yung mga particulars.
Yes, the particulars, the metes and bounds, the four corners of the formal charges against Mr. Duterte.
Pero attorney, di ba yung ebidensya ay nagsimula ng i-gather during the preliminary investigation stage?
Yes, you're right, Ronald. Preliminary investigation stage. In fact, it's still continuing. Kasi that's the mandate of the Office of the Prosecutor.
Yes, which means na medyo marami na rin silang mga ebidensya na naipon. Hindi pa kumpleto perhaps, pero marami na rin silang naipon going into the international warrant of arrest.
Yes, you're right. In fact, they had the final disclosure, I think last July 2. They already filed their final disclosure to the defense. And just to add another update, last July 3, the ICC plenary of judges, it's the whole judges of the ICC, already tonight rejected the application for disqualification of the two judges with respect to the jurisdiction.
Yes.
So yung dating denial, kasi may dati ng report yan eh. Yung dating denial, yun lang chamber. Now it's the entire plenary,
Now it's the entire plenary of judges because, it's really under the Rome Statute and the rules of procedure and everything. It should be the plenary of judges which will decide any application. It's not just the pretrial chamber or the appeals chamber. It's the plenary of judges.
Correct. We got that.
Ma-appeal pa ba yan? Ma-appeal pa siya, yung denial? Ma-appeal pa.
That's possible, but actually the appeal would also be almost useless because it's the plenary of judges.
Plenary.
And it's actually unanimous. Minus, may I say, minus the two judges because it's provided for that they are not part of the voting. So this was unanimous. And I understand why it was unanimous because it will actually limit the judicial power, authority of the judges.
Bali lang siya, sir.
Issue, attorney. On another issue, pinag-uusapan kasi rito whether to apply again for membership sa ICC. At mukhang encouraging naman yung mga initial na mga statements. Pero directly or indirectly ba? Makaka-apekto ba yan sa kaso ni ex-President Digong? Yung pag-member uli o hindi sa ICC? Kahit indirectly, paano mahaba pa naman yung kaso na yan, di ba? Several years pa yan.
Okay, Ronald, I will give you a very nuanced answer. It should not. Why? Because there was already a preliminary investigation even before we totally withdrew. There was a preliminary examination, just to be very technical about it, even before we withdrew. So it should not affect the investigation. What the re-entry of the Philippines will really affect is it's really the charges, the potential charges in the future, because it will start from when it takes effect now, and then after that, then the ICC once again has jurisdiction over any international crimes that occurs in Philippine territory. That's really the effect of that.
Can I just come back to the DCC, the document containing charges? When you say that it's going to contain the meat and bones, what level of detail are we talking about? Because in the when he was arrested, we already saw what the crimes were, and the prosecutor already said they had reasonable grounds to believe that crimes against humanity were committed. But in this new document, in this DCC, to what level of detail are we expecting?
It should be enough detail to actually give guidance to the defense and for the defense to also prepare. So, and it should also guide the pretrial chamber, the trial chamber, hopefully in the future, as well as the victims. So this will be more extensive compared to the application for an arrest warrant. Because if you remember, in the application for arrest warrant, there were actually three incidents under crimes against humanity. It was not just for murder; it's also for rape, and also for, I think, other inhumane acts. But not included in the arrest warrant. It's only for murder. So one of the questions that we look forward to be answered is whether it will also include arbitrary detentions or rape or other inhumane acts. So it will be more detailed compared to the application for the arrest warrant.
Will it contain specific cases? Will we know about the specific cases that the prosecution will be presenting?
Yes, you're right on that, Regina. It should contain specific incidents that are emblematic of the thousands upon thousands killed under the war on drugs. But let me reiterate this. Any specific cases, whether 43 or more than that, these are merely emblematic of at least 6,000 murdered under police operations, or under the 15 to 30,000 under vigilante-style killings.
Nagdagdagan na ba yung original? Kasi yun ang sinasabi ng kabila eh. Mga konti-konti niya ginagawa yung crimes against humanity. Whether it's emblematic or not, yun ang sabi nila. It's 40 plus na, no? 43 or 46. Nadagdagan na ba ngayon?
43 in the application.
43, yeah.
So, but as of now, even if you monitor it right now, the ICC website, hindi pa lumalabas yung DCC. Kasi 10:43 AM pa lang dito sa Central European Time. O hanggang 4 PM, I think, yung business hours. So antabay natin yan.
Pero that's today.
Yes, that's today, July. I hope it's metaphorical. And justice for the victims of the war on drugs.
Attorney, are there any indications na may mga iba pa sooner or later na may issuehan ng international warrant?
Very good question, Ronald. But I think the focus right now, because of the time limitations, is really just on Mr. Duterte. Because of the disclosure, very strict timelines, especially under pretrial chamber 1. But it's still, well, to be seen whether there will be future. But I think this is just one case against Mr. Duterte, because this is the Philippine situation. And there can be other cases under the Philippine situation against the other perpetrators of the war on drugs. So we can also expect that. This will not limit who will be indicted.
Well, sir, you talked about strict timelines. Can you run us through the timelines? What's coming up next, and how tight are the timelines?
Okay, so today, July 4, document containing charges. I think more or less August 20, the registry will also try to transmit to the pretrial chamber who are the victims that applied, because victim participation is a different process from the confirmation of charges from the application for arrest warrant from the GCC, and then there will also be the timeline for the legal representative for victims. So these are the three timelines that are actually in parallel. They're moving in parallel. Also, let me be approximate. This is merely approximate because there's actually still the jurisdictional challenge as well as the application for interim release.
Yeah.
This is just an approximate. More or less, maybe the jurisdictional challenge will be resolved maybe last week of August, first week of September. But this is merely an approximation. Interim release, maybe thereabouts also.
Kumusta yung sa interim release request? Any new developments done?
Oh, there's no new development as of now, Ami. But let me just emphasize also that based on the jurisprudence of the ICC, no application for interim release has been approved by the chambers with respect to Article 5 crimes. Article 5, crimes against humanity, war crimes, genocide. Only for Article 70, offenses against administration of justice. Diyan lang po nagbigay ng interim release yung chambers, pero hindi po sa Article 5.
We know at this point, Attorney Andres, that the prosecution is recommending that the chamber reject the application of former President Duterte for interim release on a number of grounds. But give us an insight on sino po yung magde-decide nito? It's still the pre-trial chamber. Along with the jurisdictional issue, is it also the pre-trial chamber that decides on it?
Yes, both of those will be decided by the pre-trial chamber. It's within the powers of the pre-trial chamber. Interim release as well as jurisdictional challenge. This is what is called the competence la competence. The ICC, specifically the pre-trial chamber, has the power to determine its own jurisdiction, and even any court or tribunal has that competence la competence. So, antabayan po natin yan at maging decision.
And when you say your approximation for the timeline is last week August, first week September, what needs to happen between now and then? Ano pa pong kulang? Like, how many more steps is there to go through? Because we're completely blind to this. We just know that the prosecution has filed its response, but apart from that, we don't know when they might kick off the process.
I think for the prosecution, it's really preparation for the confirmation of charges, because remember, the prosecution has that onus probandi. It has the duty to show that there are substantial grounds to believe that we should proceed to trial. So it also takes preparation, especially that this is an international crime. So there's the contextual element, widespread or systematic attack. And there's the specific acts under that widespread or systematic attack, which we still definitely don't know as of now, whether it's merely murder or also arbitrary detention or even SGBV or rape and other sexual and gender-based violence and other inhumane acts. So also what's going to happen in between now and September 23, application, victims application process, as well as the consultations with as to who should be the common legal representative for victims. Three processes are working in parallel until September 23.
I guess ang gustong malaman ng mga tao, attorney, kung kailan kaya mag-uumpisa yung trial. Best case scenario, kung sakasakali lang that you will proceed to trial, nakikita naman natin how the ICC is moving now. Ano kaya yung projection?
Okay,
Kung kailan? Within the year kaya pwede?
You're asking a very specific question, a technical question, trial, ano? Kasi we're presuming it will proceed to trial.
Yeah.
And I really hope it will proceed to trial.
Yeah,
Because
kung sakasakali lang, yeah.
After September, the pre-trial chamber has 60 days to determine, to actually determine and issue its resolution as to the confirmation of charges. And hopefully, if it will proceed to trial, more or less, it will be next year. January or
Next
February
year.
of next year. Yes, January or February of next year. Hopefully.
Attorney, kamusta ang sitwasyon dyan physically sa The Hague? Tuloy pa rin yung mga rallies ng mga supporters ni Digong. Paano ang alam ko, nagreklamo yung mga residents dyan eh. doon sa
Oh,
mga
hyphenated.
nagkadaling?
I think wala na pong masyadong mga kababayan, no, doon sa hyphenated. I may be wrong, ha? Pero at specific times na alam ko, dates, wala masyado, ano. In fact, kung tinan mo yun yung Malifield, wala nang masyado, nagmo-mobilization, hindi ko alam, baka nagpapahinga lang siguro muna. Yung mga supporters ni Mr. Duterte, Pero I also want to emphasize, Ronald, our kababayans are really exercising their freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom of assembly. And kudos to that. It's provided for under the Dutch Constitution as well as the European Convention on Human Rights. But the question is, was the right to life, liberty, and security of our kababayans here in the Philippines, was it respected during the time of the war on drugs under Mr. Duterte? And it was not.
Kumusta yung mga witness? Kasi naghihingi ng protection for some of the witnesses eh. Ano bang kayang gawin for them ng ICC mismo?
Right. Ganito, Ami, this is the nuanced approach. The ICC has that protection duty, but it's very specific if it's a dual role witness, because it has a protection duty for witnesses. And if it's a dual role witness, meaning to say the witness is both a victim as well as a witness. Talagang heightened yan. Yung duty to protect. Nandyan din sa victims, but as of now, wala pa kasi yung talagang approved list of victims for the participation, to be technical about it.
Yes.
They're still in the process of applying for victim participation. Kaya ang generic lang na protective duty, do no harm, never disclose the names of those who apply. Never redact it. If ever. Redact it always. Unless, victim under the, may ABC kasi na process, Ang A talagang swak within the DCC. Yung B talagang labas sa DCC. Let's say, namatay noong 1901. Obviously, labas yan. Or yung C naman, hindi pa alam ng registry whether labas or pasok. So yan, i-reveal yan sa pretrial chamber. As well as defense for naka-redact yun. Kaya that's the do no harm principle. Kaya for us, center law, we don't just disclose, and we never disclose the names of the victims.
Right.
Even the number of the victims we represent, we never disclose them.
Okay.
Center law, I defend peace.
Okay, just very quickly, one last question, Attorney Andres. I wonder if you could help us understand yung kaso po ni former spokesman Harry Roque. Because on the one hand, you have Justice Secretary Boying Remulla saying, as far as he knows, na deny yung asylum application ni Harry Roque, and then Harry says, no, that's fake news. He is still legally, he has legal status in the Netherlands, and in fact, he has been moving around between the Netherlands and Germany. But also, on the other hand, the government here is trying to cancel his passport. So how does all of that work? Do you have any insights on that?
Siguro, Gina, this is the point where I will need to drink water. No pun intended.
Full disclosure, si Harry, tama sir, no? One of the founders.
Former colleague niyo po, yes.
So, Ninong po. Full disclosure.
Yes.
I think, the complication there is there's an interplay of three systems. The Dutch legal system, the Philippine legal system, as well as the Dutch asylum regime. And international law. So there's actually an interplay of three systems. But the limitation in whatever opinion I can give is that I don't have any facts as of the moment. Proven facts, established facts. So yun lang po yung problema doon. Wala po akong facts talaga, kaya hindi talaga ako makapagbigay ng informed opinion on that. But I will also want to say that wala kaming any interactions with Mr. Harry Roque.
Sir, hindi nyo kinukumusta ninong nyo?
Attorney, parang bihinis yung pagkakasabi niya.
Pinag-pray. So gano'n na lang. Pinag-pray. Pray for one another naman,
okay.
Diba?
You don't bump into him there, sir? Kasi
Hindi, laki talaga ng danhak Sa Netherlands, ng Europe, hindi pa nakapag-bump Siguro tutunan lang ng 1 second, ganun lang po.
Galing talaga umiwas si attorney.
Puntahan nyo sa Tulip Fields.
Oh.
Oo, baka ibang tulip fields yung pinuntahan, no?
Okay, we'll leave that there. Thank you so much for your insights today. ICC-accredited lawyer, attorney Gilbert Andres. Salamat, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Ingat
Thank
po.
you, Attorney.
Buhay po tayong lahat.